Hello and welcome. In today's episode, we will be interviewing Mrs. Sujata Tilak, the managing director of a Pune-based company called Accent Intellimation, who are neck deep into industrial Internet of Things and Industry 4 implementation. So, in order to give you what is the perception, what is the experience, what are the hopes and aspirations of local organizations like Accent Intellimation, we bring to you this interview. Hope you will get benefited and you will enjoy the talk. Do you feel that this Industry 4 is just a passing fad, like so many industry buzzwords are tossed around and then they disappear over a period of time? So do you feel this is a genuine need to have evolved as this digitalization journey, or it is just a passing fad and like other fads, it will also disappear one day?
Yeah. First of all, thanks, Mr. Khare, for inviting me for this interview. And hello, everyone. So coming to your question, I don't think it is a fad at all. If you remember, in year 2011, German government started this initiative, Industry 4.0, in the Hanover industrial fair. And since then, it has gained in acceptability, it has gained in spread across the world. And it is the need of the hour. So I think it is here to stay, and it's not a fad at all.
Now, in Indian context, what do you think will be the main drivers for somebody to do Industry 4? And how would you compare the drivers that Germans may have when they started?
Okay. So the main drivers, business drivers for Industry 4.0 are to remain competitive and to grow in your market, in your spread across the globe, and so on. And then this translates in the operational terms into increasing the productivity, reducing the downtime, improving quality, all these things. So there are multiple ways in which this is actually on the ground manifested. But the basic business goal is to remain competitive, to grow, and to increase your market. And I would say this is universal. Okay, it's nothing to do with just India wanting to do that and Germany wanting something else. In fact, this initiative was started to improve competitiveness of German companies. That was the stated objective of this initiative. Yeah. So as far as the goals are concerned, they are more or less similar across the world, but the way of achieving it or the baseline of different countries when they start on this journey, there could be differences in that.
Okay. Having said that, do you feel that the way it will happen in India would be same as the way it will happen in Germany, or there will be some specific things for Indian context, which will be special to India? I mean.
Right. So as I said, the baseline could be different. When we talk about India, the penetration of automation is not that high. If we talk about the SME sector, and as you know, the Industry 4.0 stands on the foundation of industrial automation. So basic automation is required because the most fundamental part of Industry 4.0 is to get data from the industrial assets. So connect to the machines and get the data. And now in order for that, the machine has to have the capability of providing the data, and that comes via use of automation. So PLCs and controllers and so on. So in Indian context, that basic automation part is not as high as maybe, let's say, Germany or USA. So we have to start from there. Right? Plus the infrastructure on the plant floor. So in the connectivity is one part. The second important part is the network on the plant floor or the infrastructure on the plant floor. Unless you have that, again, it's a non-starter. So setting up the infrastructure, including or adding the automation part, these are some of the things which differentiate the situation in India versus situation in developed countries, let's say. Also the skills and the capability of the manpower. By manpower, I mean the operators who are going to actually use the machines. Because again, Industry 4.0 is not only limited to a few executives or management of an industry, it touches each and every person working in that industry, right up to the junior most operator who is working. And their involvement is crucial, and hence their skills, their understanding is important. And again, there is some difference between how it is in India versus how it is in developed countries.
Madam, automation is often accused of taking away jobs from people.
Yeah.
Now, in European countries, they don't have so many people to be employed. In fact, they have shortage of manpower.
Right.
That's why they might be going for automation.
Right.
But in India, we have where job creation is the biggest challenge that we have on us today. So, since we have to provide jobs for many people, what do you think will be difference in approach for us? Like what they are doing may be poised at total automation.
Correct.
But what in India we should do is probably automation along with human touch.
Absolutely, what you said is really on the dot. So yes, but still, I mean, we don't want to take away the jobs. That is correct. But always, any technology that comes, it takes away some jobs and it creates some other jobs. Right. So in Europe, they might be going for what is called as a lights out automation. That means you run a factory without switching on the lights because there is no human there and only robots and automation is doing all the job. In India, that's not going to work because we want to give jobs to our people. But the basic automation is not about taking away jobs. It is about improving your accuracy, improving your quality, and so on. So that part of automation is necessary, and people have to, maybe they have to get trained in certain things in order to remain in that job. So if they were doing everything by hand, then maybe some different kind of training is required. Now when they start using technology, some different kind of training is required. But that doesn't mean that the person will lose his job. He will still have a job, and I would say a better job at that, in terms of the way the person is working.
Now, many times I have heard from Indian MSMEs that, okay, Industry 4 is nice to do. We have to do it one day, but we will wait and do it when it becomes as friendly as mobile phone. That is, it becomes a plug and play kind of a commodity. So something standard is there which we can buy for a known cost, and then it starts working from day one as user friendly as mobile phone utilities. So do you think this expectation is misplaced, or can it happen like that?
Yeah. So I have a counter question for these companies who say this, right? Is your shop floor standardized? If you give me a standardized shop floor, then I will give you a plug and play solution. But if your shop floor has a huge variety in the assets, their models, their stage of automation and all these different things, then of course the solution also has to adapt to all these things. And why the solution is not plug and play? Because it has to adapt to all these different variety. And I go to one shop floor or one company, I find some variety. Go to the second one, it is completely different, but still there is a variety. Third one, same story repeats. So unless there is standardization at that level, and I don't think it will ever come, or it need not come, because the solution is adaptable. The solution can adapt to all these different variety, and then it cannot be plug and play. But once we achieve that connectivity of these different variety of assets, then the further part is fairly standard. Further part is fairly standard. But of course, in that also our experience is that the companies want some things to be done in a certain way. And, so then those are more or less customizations because they need things in a certain way. I want a report in this fashion, or I want a dashboard to be blue instead of green, whatever, those kind of things. But the basic adaptability part comes because of the variation in the assets. So that's the thing.
To put what Madam says in other words, I would say that, well, if you want to wear a standard shirt, either your anatomy should be standard, which is difficult to achieve, or else you get the shirt tailored for you. So more often than not, Industry 4 is looked at something which needs to be customized today, because it is difficult to adopt one's anatomy to suit a shirt.
Correct. But you are right. But I will also add to this, we as solution provider, we and companies like us, we try to bring in as much standardization as possible, So we have we have a solution or a connectivity solution we called as a pulse solution. Okay. Now, what this pulse solution does, any old machine, it can have a automation, it may not have automation. We use the electrical signals from that machine to get basic data out of that machine. Now, this mm, creates a lot of so to say standardization or ease of implementation, because I don't have to worry about what machine, what PLC, what protocol, how do I talk to it, port is there, not there, all these things then go away. I just have to get a few electrical signals and connect to them, and then do whatever I have to do further to provide the all the outputs. And most companies have maintenance people, or I would say all companies. I haven't come across any company where they say, oh, we don't know how to get this electric. Everybody knows, all maintenance people know this. So this kind of standardization we try to bring in, and that will or that makes life a bit easier. But still, it's not all plug and play. It's not like a phone where
I think what
take
is
any
what
phone,
is
any
more
SIM card.
important is to incorporate the industry's best practices into the solution. And customization can still be there.
Yeah.
It's not a bad word. Customization can still be there, as long as it has the best practices which are proven all over the world. As long as we learn from them, as long as we take in spirit, I think it will serve the purpose both ways.
Right.
Okay. Well, do you think Industry 4 is poised to grow in India in a big way? Are we geared up for it, first of all?
Yes, I think we have no choice. It has to grow. See, we are aspiring to increase the manufacturing GDP of our country from roughly right now 17% to 25% in next few years, right? Now, if we want to do that, one is to add more industries and make things more, which will happen anyways. But the industries which are there currently, they have to become more productive. They have to produce more with the existing infrastructure without adding any capital or any machinery in their this thing. And in order to do that, they have to adopt Industry 4.0 technologies, because only those technologies will help them to utilize existing infrastructure and still produce more. So I think India has no choice, and all the manufacturing companies have realized that. So when we started out in 2013-14, that time frame, when we were talking in the webinar, or sorry, not webinars, that time we had in-person conferences. So we are so used to using the word webinar that but in the conferences when we used to talk about this, everybody was interested as a academic topic, but nobody would dare to actually try to implement it or put their money, or they didn't think that it would help them. So it was a lot of evangelization we had to do. But now we have passed that stage. Now every industry, like you also said, they know that they have to do it today or tomorrow. So they have realized, they have accepted it, and it will happen.
Now, many times in India, particularly when we come across companies who claim to do Industry 4, most of what they are able to show is OEE or productivity monitoring or inventory monitoring or breakdown monitoring. But don't you think these are the things which we were doing 20, 30 years back also when there was no sign of Industry 4? Now, what is the big deal then? Now, I have heard this question from many MSMEs again. They say that all this we were doing before, so what is new?
Okay.
Now, have you come across any good examples that you can cite where Industry 4 has been implemented the way it should be?
Yeah. So I'll give you examples later, but
Yes.
before that, I would like to comment on what
Yes.
you said, right? So yes, so there are two ways to go about any new technology or any new initiative. Yeah, you either evolve or you transform, right? Transformation or revolution is you change everything at one go. So it's not incremental. It is at one big bang and you change everything. Now to do that, you really need various things. The first and foremost being that the commitment and the vision of the management and everybody till the bottom. Then you need some risk taking ability or willingness to take the risk, because to do a complete transformation in at one go, you need to change a lot of things, and not just technology is, I think, the easiest of the whole basket. But you need to change a lot of things. Now, how many industries are willing and capable of that? Very few. But the other approach, which is the evolution, that means bit by bit, incrementally you change. Now, when you start in that approach, I think first steps are what you mentioned, OE and reduced downtime and so on. But people were doing it whatever 10, 20 years, but there is a big difference. When OE is measured on Excel using Excel sheet and by feeding data manually, the results you get versus the OE which you calculate by getting data from the machine, there is a huge difference. And every time we go in any industry to do our installation, people are already calculating OE.
Yes.
When they start getting data from the system, they get a shock. You know, on paper, on Excel, it is something 80%, 85%. And through the system, it comes like 65, 67, something like that. You know, then they first start saying, oh, system is wrong. Then you have to show them the data. You have to prove, because so many small things we don't catch when we are doing the manual entries. So yes, so this first step is good, I think. It will give you a basic fundamental footing and foundation, and then on top of that you can start doing artificial intelligence, vision systems, and whatever else you want to do, right? Now coming to your sub part of the question as to who has done it in India, right? So
who has done it well?
Yeah, who has done it well, or who has done it transformation?
Yes.
Yeah. So you might be knowing World Economic Forum has an initiative called as Lighthouse Factories. So these lighthouse factories are the ones who have implemented advanced industry 4.0 across their entire setup. It's not just one department or one line. That's not enough. Across that. And I think there are 3 or 4 companies in India who are part of that lighthouse network. And Tata Steel plant in Jamshedpur is one of them. Then Unilever, one of their plants near Mumbai is another one. And there is one pharma company also. I forget the name, but there are 3 or 4 Indian companies who have gone all out and done the entire transformation of their organization. Then there are some other examples also nowadays coming up, where when a greenfield factory is set up now, or a greenfield plant is set up, new plant, then they do this industry 4.0 from the day one. You know, they build it or they design it.
In their DNA,
exactly,
right from day one.
Exactly. So then there are some such examples also. But that is kind of, I won't say it is easy, but it is more straightforward. Having an existing plant like Tata Steel and convert it into a lighthouse
legacy into this digital transformation.
It must be a huge effort and huge commitment.
And truly, it must be commendable. I mean, what you say, but
then I would like to mention one more thing that has happened in India, and because we are part of it. So in Indian, the Pollution Control Board of India has decided. They decided about 7-8 years ago that certain types of industries have to report their air and water emissions to the regulators in real time online. And they decided, or they made that policy, and then they followed it up with the implementation. So today in India, thousands of industries are giving their air and water emissions data to the government 24/7 in real time. And accurately means directly from the measurement, the analyzers or the instruments which measure. And we are one of the leaders in this space in India. We have connected about 3,000 industries across India on our platform EnviroConnect, and the data is going to various state boards. And in this respect, India is ahead of even the US or other Western countries. In US, lot of places this data is given once in a day offline mode. And in India, it is online mode. And this is not full Industry 4.0, but the IIoT, Industrial Internet of Things part of it. So
I would like to ask, what is the role of your company in this journey of Industry 4 and digital transformation? And what are your major achievements that you would like to mention here?
Sure. Yeah. So as I mentioned to you before, we started this journey quite ahead of time, I would say, in 2013 or so. And at that time, it was more of selling the concept. or evangelizing, and still, as I said, nobody was much interested to actually invest in it. They just want to know what it is. So it started from there. So we have done a lot of evangelization in many events, individually visiting the companies and so on. Our Enviro Connect was our first product. So, okay, taking a step back, what do we do, right? So we have created a edge to cloud industrial IoT platform called Plant Connect. Okay, this is completely our IP. We have developed it from grounds up. So it's fully our IP, made in India. And this platform is an industrial IoT platform. And we have several applications on top of this platform to service specific needs. Enviro Connect is first one which we released first one after we build the platform. And this is for industrial emissions monitoring. So stack emissions, then water STP and ETP output. And as I said, giving data to the regulator. So this particular product is installed, as I said, 3,000 plus industries in India. Even this, we have installations in Sri Lanka, Myanmar, Bangladesh, and many Gulf countries like Saudi Arabia and Oman and so on. So this is the first one. Then we have another product called as Insights, Plant Connect Insights. So this is mainly a reporting solution, and we have installations in many process industries, food and beverages, chemical, glass industries. Even this installation of Insights is there in the Bangalore International Airport. So all the electrical setup of Bangalore International Airport is being reported using our solution. So Siemens is our partner in that. So we are very happy about that installation as well. Then comes the most what should I say, most talked about, which is the smart factory.
Okay.
So we call it Plant Connect S Factory, S for smart factory. And we have several installations of this particular product as well. And to name just a few, we have installation in an MNC. It's a tier 1 automotive supplier. And they have some 18 plants, I think, across India. And the installation that we have done in one of their plants is the first one for them of Industry 4.0 in India. And that installation has helped them to improve their OE from something around 60, 65 to 80. And they are very happy to get accurate real-time data every day. They are very happy that their downtimes have reduced. They are very happy that they can use this data for analytics, for doing improvements in their line design, so production line. So production line design as well as some of the product design. So taking the data back to the design stage and using it to improve the product. So those kind of things. And they are using it very efficiently and effectively. And I'm glad that all their operators, everybody is on board, because we provide the solution, but getting people on board, the company has to do, right? So and the journey is going on. I would say the journey has started in earnest for S Factory now, because as it was picking up, COVID happened. And then 2 years it was, again went down. There was because manufacturing was kind of at a standstill. And then again, we had to restart. And it takes time for manufacturing companies to warm up to something and to start investing in it, So that's where we are.
Now, since you are operating majorly in India, let me ask you, what challenges did you face doing it in India, and what you would wish could have been better in terms of support from policy or government or, the environment, the ecosystem? How you wish it could have been different so that it would have moved more smoothly, easier?
Correct. So when you embark into anything new, challenges are given. I mean, before jumping into it, you should know that it is going to be challenging. So yes, it was challenging, no doubt about it. I would say the challenges on the technology front were there. And mainly, as I said, the variety of equipment and connectivity and all those kind of challenges were there. But more challenges were on the people front. convincing people that this product is going to help them and not going to, kind of monitor them or spy on them or something like that. Means we have encountered even those kind of thought process in people. So I'll just give you one example. We did implementation in a large company. They had a lot of contract workers, and their main problem was they did not have visibility of what's happening on the shop floor. The plant managers and the higher people. So these contract workers used to, they used to work on daily targets. And what they used to do, 8 hour shift, they would finish their daily target in 6 hours and literally
Go for
sleep or while away their time for 2 hours. This was a open secret kind of. Everybody could see that, but there was no this thing. Now, once this system was in place, then of course they started getting the data. Okay, this machine is running only for 6 hours, but still the production is as it, whatever are the numbers. So that means two things. One is there is a scope for increasing production. That is one inference. Or second possibility is that they are loading the machine more than they should, and hence this is going to impact the health of the machine eventually. So either of these two things will be true, right? So they got data and then they could act on it, and then they could. So in this scenario, the management got a tool using which nobody can doubt that, what you are saying is not right. So that kind of thing happened. But for those contract people, this wasn't a welcome thing. And then, they would just remove the wire, the connectivity, and then no connectivity. But then the product was like that, it would still store the data locally. As long as the wire was put in the network connection, everything would go to the server still. So those kind of things are there, and they have.
I have seen when engineer goes to put sensor on the machine, people look at him as if he has come to put a camera in somebody's bedroom.
Exactly. No, in one company, we did all the, sales cycle, everything. We were going to get the order. They had said yes, etc. But then it turned out that they have a contract with the union, and their whatever union agreement had a clause that the company will not put any system,
monitoring devices,
monitoring how the production is going on.
Closed circuit TV and all. Unions frown on that actually.
So because of that, they could not give the order. So these kind of, but I think now things are changing. Now people have realized that whether we like it or not, this is going to come. So one thing which I would say here, which what should be different even now, right? Typically, in any organization, these Industry 4 projects are headed or are owned by what they call as a manufacturing excellence team. Now, this manufacturing excellence team mostly has IT people or has some automation people and so on.
Productivity champions or some
correct, those kind of people.
Isolated species.
So, if you don't involve the users, so the production people and the maintenance people are the main users of the system, right? So if you don't involve them right from the conceptual stage of the system, like when you decide, okay, we want to do something like this, then you talk about a lot of, because there are so many things you can do and you have to make a plan and go step by step. So when you decide what use cases you want to tackle and all these things. Now in all this journey, if the production maintenance people are not involved, then these team decides everything, and then when you go with the solution will be deployed on the shop floor, used by the production and maintenance people. Then their commitment and their involvement is very bad. They feel like somebody has decided something for me and I don't even know what it is, and this is definitely not going to help me. That is their mindset, and this causes a lot of problem for us, for the company, for everybody. So wherever we have seen that this is not the case, where shop floor people are involved in from the beginning, then things go much smoother, because then they can train the operators, they can talk to them, they can guide them, and all those things automatically happen. Otherwise, these people are bent to fail the system.
So, there has to be a buying in first.
From the shop. And not after you deploy the system. The buy-in has to be, rather I would say more than buy-in, they have to be consulted. They have to feel that my requirement is being met, and not that somebody is thinking for me and putting something on top of it.
Right from conceptualization stage, I think they have to be on board.
So this is a very, very big thing And I think it's not very difficult to do. If the company decides, they can do it. But
They
I
can
don't know.
do it, madam, but I have been in shop floor and I have seen things that when there is no system, people crib that there is no system.
Okay.
When management buys them a system, they don't use it. And then they find problems with the system.
But when management buys them is a problem.
That
I
is a
think.
problem.
They have
So-
to say, I want to buy a system.
Yes.
And then the management
Then it will
tells
work.
them, "Okay, okay, what you want,
Yes,
and
yes,
let
yes.
it come from them.
Yeah.
Then it will work.
True.
That's what I'm saying.
All said and done, do you think that doing Industry 4 is a business decision or it is a strategic decision?
I think both. Because it has to come from strategy and business. It cannot be a technology decision for sure.
Yes, yes.
It has to be a business decision. Business has to be involved, and business has to watch that, okay, this is what I want to get out of it, and am I getting out of it? And then it percolates down to the technology and all these other things.
But when you say business decision, one uncomfortable question crops up. That what is the ROI?
ROI. I know, I know. And this question
Yeah.
doesn't have a straight answer.
Yes.
But yes, there are ways of showing the ROI. And in fact, I'm just kind of maybe getting ahead of the time, but we are in a process to include financial dashboards in Plant Connect.
Okay.
Yeah. So bring in the CFO and the CEO. Show them what are the advantages you are getting, or what is the return on investment you are getting because of putting in this system. So yes, it is possible to do it. There is no one single formula which will work everywhere, but yes, it is possible to give those numbers to them. So yes.
Okay. Do you see that there is any skill or competency gap which is there in implementing Industry 4?
Yes, there is, and I think we talked on and off about that. So the skill, competency, and more than that, the mindset. And we use this word mindset quite a bit. I mean, I would say it is overused word, mindset change, but really this mindset change is required in the sense that those people on the shop floor should feel that this system is going to help me. Yeah, this system is not to trouble me, but this is to help me. By using this system, I'm going to save time, or I'm going to be able to solve problems easily. I'm going to be able to ask for help easily, and those kind of things. So this mindset change is the first step. And if that happens, then the next thing is to train them on using the system, or retrain them and whatever. So then that is not difficult. That is definitely needed, but that is not difficult. But this mindset change is very important.
What would you say of the bandwidth of, let us say, communication system or cloudware, or the ecosystem in general, the software ecosystem that
Right.
goes with that?
Yeah. So as I said, the ecosystem is all there, right? And now it is not just there, but it is kind of cost-wise, it's not very prohibitive. If you talk about the cellular bandwidth, or if you talk about the cloud, it's okay, it's doable. The thing that sometimes becomes a hurdle is setting up the infrastructure on the plant. So if it's a very old plant, then there is a lot of noise, there are a lot of electromagnetic interferences, a lot of dust, and in those circumstances, putting up a network on the plant can become challenging. Now there are so many new technologies, wireless technologies, but many of these wireless technologies do not work in such environments. Then you need to go to good old the wired Ethernet and lay the cable and get everything connected. So these kind of things do pose a challenge because the investment into this infrastructure is pretty high. And if you have to go for the industrial grade switches and cables and everything, the cost becomes pretty high. So this is one of the things which sometimes does. I mean, I know a few cases where they want to do it, but they don't have budget for doing this. So that brings me to another hurdle, which is it's an internal hurdle of the company. So a lot of times we have heard manufacturing people say that we do not get as much budget as IT gets.
Okay.
Yeah. So IT and manufacturing, they always have some kind of dynamics, which is, and I am kind of putting my neck out there by saying this, but we have heard a lot of manufacturing companies say that we don't have this kind of budget. If IT wants to put up a system, they will get a lot of budget, but not
the manufacturing.
And this mindset needs to change. The companies have to realize that these systems are also going to bring me direct cost cutting or direct improvement in my top line and all these things. So, but this is not yet happened, I would say.
The difference between IT and OT is actually merging now. Operations technology is coming pretty much closer to IT.
Yeah.
So I don't see any reason why they should not have similar kind of budget, or why there should be a boundary line first of all.
Yeah, there is.
Should be seamless.
And people tell us, especially sometimes they say, okay, can you do something? Don't ask us to go to our IT.
Yes,
if we go to our IT, it takes one lot of time. We are asked a lot of questions and we don't get what we ask for. That is what they tell us. So I don't know. But hopefully it will change and change for better.
Actually, in manufacturing, there is a thinly disguised contempt for IT. And that is what I've seen sometimes.
Maybe because they get to sit in AC offices and manufacturing people have to work in all the noise and all the conditions on the shop floor. It may be that.
What would be your advice to budding young tech-savvy students who are building their career and who are interested in going towards this kind of domains?
Yeah. So it's a very opportune time to go into these kind of domains in automation, in Industry 4 or all these high-tech technology areas. But I would say that first they have to understand the business. Okay. Even if they are technology people, they cannot just remain pure technology people. They have to understand the business and they have to have one thing very, very clear, that technology is for business and not vice versa. You know, because some high funda and high-tech technology has arrived, it doesn't mean that everybody will adopt it whether they need it or not.
Yes.
So they have to, because many times what happens is, if these enthusiastic technology people, when they go to sell something or when they go for showing what they have, they will keep talking about technology
for the sake of technology.
But the person on the other side has to be convinced that I need this, or this is going to help me. Just because it's a jazzy new technology doesn't. We do that with the mobile phones, right? We keep changing them for no reason every 2-3 years, or I don't know.
And we don't calculate ROI for that.
What is the frequency? But that's not going to happen for such industrial systems. So that is something which they have to keep in mind. Otherwise, this is an excellent field and it's challenging but very rewarding. What you are doing, you get the satisfaction of helping somebody to improve their production or to get analytics out of the data that you are getting. It's a very good area.
With this, of course, I must thank you for a very inspiring and informative session with us. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. It was my pleasure, and I hope I have given some little insights into Industry 4 field. It's a very vast field, so nobody can, give the entire overview, but some little scratches here and there is possible.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.